This is what you can do about your health, a podcast about how you can make your body healthy, strong, fit, and inhospitable to disease. I'm Sean McClendon, your host. I'm a certified personal trainer, author, and health and fitness enthusiast, as I like to call myself. Thank you for joining me today. The information on this podcast is based on personal research, experience, and opinion, and is not meant to be a substitute for advice from a doctor or a physician. You are advised to consult your doctor or physician before making any changes to your lifestyle. In this episode, and I am excited about this episode here, as I often am, I want to talk about why I exercise 5 to 6 days a week. And I'm gonna kind of go into just what exercise is and just a lot of just stuff related to exercise. Before I get into that, I want to tell you about. Hold on a second. Okay, you make sure it's still recording. But I want to tell you about my Lean and Tone Online Fitness Challenge. Now, this is something that I actually offered in the past, and it used to come with coaching, but I'm kind of having to scale back on that a bit. But it's still available. So my Lean and Tone Online Fitness Challenge includes a series of mini workout videos that I've recorded. These are 10 to 15 minute body weight exercise videos, which means you can do these in your home with little to no equipment. And the exercises, the workouts rather, are designed to help you build and sculpt muscle in that time period. Um, and I am, going to be updating the workout videos regularly. In other words, I'm adding workouts to the library. It's about 5 or 6 of them now, and I'm gonna update. Sorry, those exercises, those workouts regularly. If you join this challenge, it includes a PDF copy of my book called 8 Weeks to Transform Your Diet and Your Health. You've heard me mention that a lot on this podcast. And that book will guide you into implementing tips that are going to help you to get results from your workouts and help you to experience better overall health. And then finally, I include like a workout schedule in there to kind of help you to plan your workouts and kind of how they'll coincide with you going through that 8 weeks um, fat loss workbook. Okay. So the link is in the description. Make sure that you go to that. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this podcast, the good stuff. All right. So I work out about 5 or 6 days a week. Okay. Sometimes, every now and then it's a little less than that, but typically I plan for 6 and I often get about 5, sometimes 6. And often I will work out, I have like 1 to 3 workout sessions in one day. So like for example, early this morning, before I kind of got going, I threw in a couple of sets of pull-ups, my indoor pull-up bar that's close by. And so I mean, maybe that wouldn't necessarily qualify for a workout, but typically I try to, I might do a quick workout early in the morning that might be, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Then I have a workout session that I do after I drop my kids off. It's typically outside. And that will be like, you know, at least a half hour. And that's gonna include anything like this morning, it was just walking, and then I interspersed it with several sets of push-ups, decline push-ups. Sometimes I'll start off walking for a while, like a half a mile or so, and then I do hill sprints for 10 minutes. Um, so that's typically how it is. But because I'm trying to get in a certain amount of reps of specific calisthenics every single day, um, I don't usually get those in the early part of the day. I don't get all of them in. So I typically will have at least one more workout session sometime later in the day. It might be either around 11 when I get a break, or it might be 5, somewhere around there, or sometimes earlier. But anyhow, I use that later workout to kind of get the rest of my reps in. So that's how that works. But anyhow, so I work out very often, and um, yet if you look at the caption for this video, I say that you don't really have to exercise. Now, why in the world would I introduce such a contradiction? Obviously, I am like a big proponent of exercise, right? I mean, I'm a certified personal trainer, been certified since 2015, and I work out a lot myself. But yet I say you don't have to exercise. Now, the reason why I say that is because of the actual definition of exercise. What is exercise? We throw that term around a whole lot and we throw it around pretty loosely. I think that we've kind of started to lose what the meaning of exercise is. So I looked up the definition. This is from the Merriam Webster dictionary. The definition of exercise is bodily, well, one definition rather of exercise is bodily exertion for the sake of developing and maintaining physical fitness. Bodily exertion for the sake of developing and maintaining physical fitness. Now, if you followed me for a while, you notice that sometimes I don't even really use the term exercise. I just say movement. But that's why it's important to understand what exercise is. Exercise is purposeful movement for the purpose of either maintaining your fitness or developing, or in other words, increasing your level of physical fitness. Fitness is like really just your body's ability to accomplish different tasks. So if you increase your level of fitness, you increase your capacity for accomplishing physical tasks. Okay. And so technically, the reason why I say you don't have to exercise is because you really only need to move. Case in point, my grandparents, my granddad, on my mom's side, he lived to the age of 95 years old, and my grandma lived to the age of 90. I have a feeling that neither of them really exercised a day in their life. Now, obviously, I didn't know them way back when they were younger, but I never heard them talk about exercise. I never heard whatever. I mean, that just wasn't even a part of their whole mindset or culture. So they didn't exercise per se, but you know, they moved around. They maintained their ability to move. I mean, it got slower as they got older. And my granddad actually in particular, no, my grandma was the one who lived to 95. My granddad lived to 90. Let me get it right. My granddad was the one who was more physically active. He was always tinkering with something, with old cars in the back, or he had like this shed that had a whole lot of just stuff that he liked to just tinker with. And so they moved, but they didn't exercise. So exercise is not necessary for good health. It's really more so movement in general. It's important to understand that because we have such an exercise culture that we kind of convoluted a bit. Okay. Now, make sure I look at this. Now, excuse me for a second. Now that said, um, exercise, because it's very purposeful movement, exercise can improve your health, specifically because it develops a higher level of fitness. It literally is you stressing your body beyond what it's used to again increase its capacity. Again, it's not necessary, but it can improve your health. It's an opportunity for you to improve your health. Now, specifically, what you were doing when you exercise, again, say for example, I'm somebody who I have a desk job like I used to. I guess I still kind of do. But my background is engineering. And so typically in a regular day, I will walk to my car and then go and drive to work, walk to my building, walk up stairs, walk up and down stairs every now and then, sit down at the desk a lot, walk to the lab a lot, and all that kind of stuff, you know, and then walk back to my car when I'm done, walk back home, and that's pretty much it. So if that's all the movement that I'm doing, it's a lot of sitting, walking here and there. My body is going to be adapted to that. Okay. It's going to be adapted to that level of movement. Now, if I throw intentional movement in there, say for example, like one thing I used to do when I was working in the as an engineer, I would actually take a walk at lunchtime. If I do that, then I'm adding a little bit more, that me adding that little bit more movement to my routine is actually, how do I say this? It's actually giving my body something else to adapt to. Now the stimulus is not very strong because the walking for me is not that big of a deal. Now for somebody who does not walk, who's sedentary or something like that, walking would be an even greater stimulus for them. But my point is, either way, it's something else for my body to adapt to if I'm not previously doing that kind of thing a whole lot. Okay, so exercise is a way to induce above normal stress to your body that it has to adapt to. Okay, so when you induce stress intentionally to your body for it to adapt to, then your body will, it will kind of like rise to the occasion, so to speak. Like it will literally, oh, okay, we experience this different. So what we need to do is we need to adjust so that next time, um, you know, you who's in charge does whatever, we will be ready to deal with that. Okay. We'll be ready to accept that level of stress so that it becomes more manageable, more comfortable. Okay. Our bodies are amazing, man. They're always adapting to whatever it is that we do. And if we really understand that, there's a lot of power in that. Case in point, bone tissue. And I know it sounds weird to call bone tissue because it's hard, but it is called bone tissue. So literally, like ladies, a lot of times, um, um, one of the concerns for like older ladies a lot of times is osteopenia or osteoporosis, both of which have to do with like the loss of bone tissue that can lead to an increased susceptibility to like fractures and bone breaks. When you bear weight on your bones, like through walking or through lifting weights or something like that, your body will respond by laying down extra bone tissue, because your body, when you keep on doing that activity, your body's like, okay, we need to adapt by adding some more bone here so that we can be better for this in the future. Okay. When you lift weights, you also your muscles respond. Like you tire your muscles through intentional strength training, and your body responds by increasing the strength of your muscle, increasing the size of your muscle oftentimes. And again, it's amazing. It's like literally this potential's on the inside of you, but it doesn't really come out until you give it a reason to. Okay. When you do cardio, your lungs and your heart respond. Your lungs actually will increase in their capacity. Like you're able to use more of your lung tissue. It's able to expand more because you give it a reason. It's like you stress it and you push it. You push those lungs more open, and so your body responds by increasing the capacity of your lungs, so you can take in more oxygen with every breath. Your heart adapts by it will increase in size to some degree, and it will pump more blood per beat, which will result in, for example, your heart rate going down. So whereas the average person might have a heart rate that's somewhere between 80 and 120 beats per minute, your heart rate might be 70, 60, 50. Sometimes athletes will have even somewhere in the 40s. Okay. So exercise is really powerful. It's intentionally stressing your body with physical movement such that your capacity increases. And when your capacity increases, that means that your health increases. Okay? Because think about what happens when you don't exercise. Now, again, keep in mind, as long as you're moving, that's really what's most important. When you don't move, s- you know, then your body decreases in its efficiency. Now, for those who are moving regularly, especially if you're very active, and I don't mean exercising right now, I mean that you're constantly moving, walking around, and doing this and doing that. You have a very active lifestyle. Then you're able to maintain like your body's general ability to do stuff. Now, if your movement is not very much, then what will happen is you will start to lose capacity. Even if you walk kind of here and there, you'll start to get stiffer. Um, you'll start to, kind of lose some bone density, and you'll start to lose lung capacity, even if you're moving a little bit, just because of the natural kind of process of aging, especially when you get to certain ages, which is more reason why I want to encourage you to exercise. Exercise, develop some sort of intentional movement routine to increase your capacity beyond what it would normally be with your regular movements, because that way it actually protects you against natural bone loss, which is osteopenia, natural muscle loss, which is sarcopenia. Um, it will increase your capacity and help to stave that off for a long time. Case in point, when you see different actors and actresses or other people, fitness personalities who are like in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and they look like 20, 30, 40 years younger, um, according to like our standard, because they have stayed more intentionally active. Diet too, but that's a different podcast. Okay. So this is why I exercise as often as I do, because I desire not only to just be able to kind of like live and move and stuff like that, but I want to have increased capacity. And I even have other goals. Like I want to be even stronger. I want to always be getting stronger. Okay. Um, but get this, and this is what I want to finish with. An exercise routine will not work for you unless it's something that you do often, unless it is something that's a part of your lifestyle. Because remember what I said about adaptation? Adaptation is that wonderful, just really kind of miraculous kind of phenomenon where you have this potential on the inside of you where your body will respond by getting better at things and by getting stronger and healthier when you induce stresses, physical stresses. But that whole adaptation thing doesn't really happen unless it's something that you keep on subjecting your body to. Because your body, it's almost like your body's constantly monitoring everything that you do, everything that you expose yourself to, every environmental thing, every movement that you do. And then when you keep on doing it, then your body amazingly will get better at that thing. It's like it's in you. That potential is in you. But that's why exercise will not work unless it's something that you're going to do regularly. Like I'm talking about probably no less than like 3 days a week. Maybe 2, but you kind of getting a bit infrequent there. You'll get some adaptation 1, 2 days a week, but it's not going to be anything very, very meaningful. But when you start getting into 2 days, or I say about 3 days a week, yeah, you'll see some adaptation there. 4, 5, 6, even 7 days a week. Now, I would encourage you to get at least 1 day of rest, because rest is very important, because you can kind of start to get to the point where you train so much that your body never really has a chance to recover. But I think most people don't really have that issue. But just keep in mind, if you're going to exercise, which I encourage everybody to do because it helps you to increase your capacity. It helps to stave off what we think of as aging, loss of muscle, loss of bone, and other things related to what we think of as aging. If you're going to exercise, you need to do something regularly. That's why I always tell people, instead of trying to go off and do what some model or personality or influence on Instagram is doing, instead of just going off and trying to do what they're doing immediately, um, you just need to get started walking like 5 minutes a day and gradually increase from there, because your consistency is really what's most important. It's not really what you do that's as important, at least when you start out. It's like how often you're doing it. Because when you do it often, when you do it regularly, you give your body adequate stimulus to change, to adapt. It's so amazing, man. God like really showed out when he made us and like gave us this ability to adapt, and we sleep on it so much. But anyway, I don't want to get on my soapbox because I often do that. Um, that's gonna be it for this podcast. Comment below. Let me know what you think about exercise and let me know how often you exercise. Okay. Let me know what you do for your exercise routines and whatnot and what you think about this episode. Make sure that you subscribe and like, share this episode. Hit the subscribe button if you're on YouTube, y'all. So you can kind of get updated whenever I send out a new podcast, which is pretty regular, almost every day during the week. Don't forget, the featured product for the day or the featured Lean and Tone Online Fitness Challenge. You'll see the link in the description. And as I always say, your doctor's not responsible for your health. You are. God bless you.